Well, as we discussed in our last segment, we are heading into wedding season, and whether you're a member of the bridal party or just a guest of the event, you don't want to do anything that could interfere with a couple's big day. So what makes a bad wedding guest? Well, we decided we'd dive right into that one in Real Talk with Kara Kinnear, lifestyle expert Michelle Madison stuck around, and Catherine Marshall is back. Welcome, ladies. I was reading this list last night, and I'm like, oh no, I might have done that in my 20s, perhaps. Oh boy. All right, so wedding guests or wedding experts say not all bad guests realize they are in fact being bad. That's the problem. So here are a few things they say are downright rude, ladies. See if you're guilty or if you agree. Number one, I think this is what I did maybe early on, very early on in my 20s, not responding to the RSVP. So have you ever just not responded? Maybe it was somebody that you didn't really know that well and you were shocked and then you were like, I got to address that, and you never did?
Oh, you have to. RSVPs, that's head count. Head count is money, money is budget. So if you don't RSVP and you show up, that means you don't have a meal or a seat.
Right.
And if you do RSVP and don't show up, that means that you just outed that couple about maybe a I'll say $75 to $100. So it is very important.
That's
to
a
RSVP.
real problem.
I know. RSVP, yes.
I mean, I'm sure I have forgotten to send in an RSVP before, and I feel so horrible about it to this day. But I've never RSVP'd that I was going or not going and then not shown up or showed up. Like, I would never do that.
Right.
But I just was, like, forgetful and probably didn't do it.
Catherine, how
I know
about
it's not okay.
No, I know.
You know, I bet I did it back in my early 20s, like you mentioned. So it's just an immature thing to think I'm too busy and I just didn't get to that. But I think when you get that invitation, you better put it in an important place and you should probably RSVP right away. Immediately.
And we had an incident a couple of months ago with one of our favorite makeup artists and friends, Stephen Molesky. It was on a Sunday. I was having an early morning. It was now right. I ended up not being able to go, and I let him know as soon as that was determined with Jim or knowing what was on the show on that Monday. Couldn't do it because I thought he doesn't have his final food number in yet. So I wanted to, you know, God forbid if that happens, just and plans change, just let them know as soon as possible.
Right.
Okay. This almost happened with my wedding. Bringing an uninvited +1. Unless your invitation indicated that you were invited with a +1, plan to go solo or to go with people that are going to the wedding as well. I think we've gotten pretty more in tune with this. Nothing is don't ever assume you can bring a guest. I mean, but weddings are all about a budget, right? You can't just assume.
Yeah, I've had friends that have said they've gotten their RSVPs back with their like a family name, and then they've listed all their children underneath it when it has not said and family, and so then it puts them in such an awkward situation. Like, well, it's an adult-only event. Even if the invitation specifies that, then they still put their kids on the RSVP list, and it was not pretty.
So this is not a wedding, but a baby shower. I had that situation where for clients, they've asked me make sure it's an adult-only thing, and people have RSVP'd with kids, and I've had to say, hey, I will step in and personally be the bad guy, girl, and say, I'm sorry, but this is adult-only. You have to stand your ground with some people.
And I think we've got to have those difficult conversations. If you're not sure, pick up the phone and talk to someone. And even if it's a difficult or awkward conversation, better than no conversation and hurt feelings.
Right, and then the handful of people that say bring children, and somebody you're really close to was like, oh,
well, I know,
yes. Well, we actually have a poll. We talked about it at the top of the show, so let's see how you are weighing in on what have you done as a wedding guest. What's the majority? I can't see. Drink too much. We haven't gotten to that one yet. Well. Okay, not following the dress code at the invitation call for cocktail attire. You know, don't show up in a formal length gown, but also don't wear flashy, revealing. I know we did black tie optional, which I was concerned about, but I felt like we're getting married later in life, and if that's what, you know, I was like, we've waited a long time to meet this special person. But sure enough, there were some family members of mine, it's always my family, that were in like a sweater and a blazer, and other people were in still love them to death, but you're just sort of like, oh shoot. But you can't sweat the small stuff, right?
No.
Yeah.
I wasn't a bridezilla about it.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
No,
but you could have been. You had great excuse for that.
Well, I'm like, it's okay. Maybe they didn't see that at the bottom of the invite.
For me, it was the opposite. I had a wedding, one of the few I was not in, where it was black tie, and I showed up in a gown with a bustle. And I was one of maybe 10% of the guests that actually followed the black tie. Everyone else was in cocktail.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well,
And I was like, oh, okay.
You look good.
Thank you. I got great pictures.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, right, you followed the rules, check, but not that many other people did. Okay, so really, the optional, how optional is it?
It wasn't an option, it said black tie attire.
No, but when there is black tie optional, really explain to our viewers, because I think that people get...
Well, the thing with black tie optional is people are probably gonna most likely go towards a more of a cocktail attire or their Sunday best, because black tie requires a gown, and for a guy it's a penguin suit, so it could get costly. So people, unless they're like me who just have gowns in their closet, they're probably just
which most people don't.
Yeah, right. I'm like, excuse me, Michelle.
Who doesn't want a flawless gown?
I'm going to her house.
That sounds
pretty. All right, next one is where you guys are obviously weighing in, although it's kind of shifting a little bit, bringing uninvited, is drinking too much. You know, it's an open bar most of the time. It's a celebration, obviously. I don't know.
I don't blame the open bar.
No,
we're all adults.
Right.
And I will say this: I did have another client who had a family member with, who battles with alcoholism. So I was told that ahead of time, so that way I could keep an eye on the individual, because we did, have liquor. But I think that's one of those situations where we need to be adults, and just like if you were going to a corporate event and there was liquor available, not to overindulge when your boss is there, especially if you're driving. So
I wanted people to have a really good time at my wedding. I was like, drink up, it's a party.
Yes.
And my dad actually closed down our bar an hour early. And everybody was like, why is the bar closed? And so I went to my dad, I was like, Dad, why is the bar closed? It's supposed to be open until midnight. And he's like, I know. And I was like, it's closed. And he's like, I know. He shut that down early because people were having too good of a time. Yes, but I didn't mind. I was like, it's fine.
Catherine, have you been that guest? Maybe who's had a tad bit too much?
Oh, I'm not going to admit to that now.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think the way to go is you want people to have a good time, but if you have a few people that are watching and are kind of vigilant, maybe someone needs to get cut off, or maybe we need to handle the situation appropriately before it becomes a scene and becomes that memory that you don't want for the wedding. Because let's face it, people are social. They get a little carried away at weddings.
Right.
So we want to just kind of be vigilant.
I know. We had a dear friend of Jim's and mine now, but I didn't know him as well then. Well, a woman who's was like a grandmother to me from Tampa. She's beautiful and chatty, and I don't know how it came out that she was like a queen of like a crew in Tampa, like when she was in her 20s. Well, in the middle of the reception, he had remembered that from the night before at the rehearsal dinner. He bought like a Burger King crown, and he loves attention. He stole the mic, crowned her with, well, we are Italians that are very, don't make a fool of anybody, and it was embarrassing. I don't know what possessed him, and she was like 80, going, why is this guy crowning me? It was the most out of the blue, inappropriate, and I could see Jim like, I'm so sorry, like, why is he doing this? And we're like, let's off the stage, and he wanted it to be the center of attention, and the band, I was like,
cut it.
I was like, start playing something.
And that's an unfortunate memory about the wedding.
No, I promise you, to this day, certain family members go, remember your friend tried to embarrass Marion? She's an 80-year-old. I was like, okay, let's forget about it. Okay, so yeah, keep it. Always remember, be on your best. There's photography everywhere. It's like, don't let them capture a moment you don't want captured. Complaining about everything, or anything. Experts say, don't comment negatively about anything that you see, taste, anything, any opinion, just keep it to yourself.
A lot of people forget that, especially at weddings, that it's not about them. And some people do feel like they're doing you a service by letting you know that maybe the waiter wasn't that great.
And maybe the drinks kicked in and they just forgot. And that's the first thing that goes is that sense of judgment. So it could be related.
Yeah, that's true.
But it becomes all about me and my complaint, and that's just not good.
Don't complain. So rude. You got free food and drinks, and pretty much a night out, date night for free. Just
and
chill.
It should be a fun time.
You're all about, and again, I think sometimes it does go back to, if you have not been through this process, sometimes you might be more quick to judge. And then when you really are married, I'm like, oh my God, I realize how tough and challenging, and you want it to be perfect. So yes, no complaining. Constantly pulling out your phone. You didn't have this. I didn't have this problem when I was getting married early. Yes?
Okay, here's a story. Long story, but no. As a bridesmaid, we went to. My friend pulled me a couple days before just to go to the venue to scout it.
Yes.
Went. I took a picture and posted it to social. She said, Michelle, did you post a picture of the? I was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God. I didn't think about it. I was just so happy for her. And I think a lot of times people are like that. Yeah. You're so excited for the person that you're taking pictures and you're like, oh. Right. And I wasn't thinking. And after that, it doesn't, whether it's a wedding or not, I always ask, is it okay for me to post?
Right.
But so you didn't make that mistake again.
No. I learned. But now it's actually, it's a trend within weddings. I hate to say trend, but it's a thing that we're going towards. It's called unplugged. So we're having unplugged weddings, events in general where they're asking.
That might be something to really educate people about beforehand.
Yeah.
Maybe as you're planning the wedding, say, hey, this is going to be an unplugged wedding.
Yeah, we have signage when you get in, and it says it's unplugged. They'll either ask you to leave your phone, or they'll ask you to turn it off and put it in your purse.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. Okay, last one. We're almost out of time. The unexpected toast. You know those people.
Like you.
Oh my God, exactly.
Back to you.
Right. Oh, that giving that bride or groom all of a sudden, you take in the mic and you're like, what are they doing? What is this person doing? And I've seen some good ones. I mean, bad ones.
I have too. I have too. And it's so memorable and so embarrassing, and everyone is cringing.
But doesn't that kind of make it fun?
I know.
I'm kind of like, even your story, I'm like, I know it was bad, but
kind of
think about it.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
I think there's a lot of it depends in there.
Yeah.
At my cousin's wedding, one of his groomsmen got up, and we were all like, because he started telling stories.
Really
I mean, that we were just
Yeah.
like, what is he doing?
Right, right.
So that is
and that's
bad.
when you cue the.
That is bad.
That's gonna be my cue for music. All right, coming up.
People are just like, you know, having a good time and cheers. That's funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
We have one that we
inappropriate
tell
ones,
from a friend's wedding. Her brother's girlfriend at the time did a toast. It was not expected. She says, oh, so congratulations. I can't wait to be a part of this family. We all look like, who is this girl? Until this day, I tell that story to his wife now.
Right.
Because we're like, this crazy girl did this toast and said that she couldn't wait to be a part of the family.
Right. And they're like, oh,
but it was fun. It was like one of those.
Do you know her? No, I don't. All right, Shredding with Trent, someone we always love and who's invited to every wedding because he's so popular.
He's coming out at a wedding.